Hey guys, welcome back to DMAC Customs on YouTube. Dave here in the garage, Area 51. Bodywork on the trunk lid, boot lid, deck lid, whatever you want to call it. Let's get at it. Before we get into this video, it'd be cool if you could subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications bell, chuck a comment down below, let us know where you're from, where you're watching from. We've got quite a few viewers from all over the place, so that'd be awesome. Let's get into this deck lid. Boot lid, trunk lid, whatever you want to call it. Here in New Zealand we tend to call them a boot lid, so I'll probably just keep referring to that or throwing out all the different versions of it just because different terminologies for different countries, just like we spell things different ways to different countries, you know. Sometimes, like colour. In New Zealand we've got a U in it, in America there's no U in it. But anyway, I've seen an argument about that on Facebook this morning. It was quite funny. But anyway, let's get that over here. Okay, so my mission for this go round is to get like some of this just kind of smoothed out, like not going to be like super laser straight type thing because it's all kind of wiggly in that anyway, but I want to just kind of smooth it out before I put it back on the car, because when I paint the car I'll paint the inside of this with it on the car, if that makes sense. Some people probably do it like this, laid out like that, and then put it on and mask it all off, but I want to kind of get this up and out of the way because I want to bodywork the outside of it while it's on the car, so I can kind of get everything to line up hopefully better. Hopefully it's not got big thick edges of bog or whatnot. But so I'm going to just go around and give it all a bit of a scotchy, the whole thing, and then I'll go around the areas that are going to have fiberglass and then filler and that in there and just give them a bit more of a coarser rough up. I'm just doing this now so I don't forget to do the whole thing and then go and shoot a whole pile of primer and shit on there and I haven't sanded it all proper. So I'll probably do this and then I'll probably still go around and give it a bit more of a sand later on before we put the high build primer sort of stuff on. So yeah, red scotch, I don't really know the difference. I just got given some red and some grey stuff. This feels a bit coarser, so that's why I'm using it. So carry on. Okay, so been round and given it a bit of a scotchy, and also just went round the main areas that I'm going to be working on with some 150, so hopefully that's enough for stuff to key to. I'm just going to put a few little bits of tape and that in just to, because I'm bound to spill fiberglass and bog close to these edges, so I don't want to be trying to get it off this inner part, if you know what I mean. Not that it's like super smooth and shiny and crap like that, it's just that I don't really want to sand it. So I'll just put a few bits and pieces in these areas, just like so. I'm not doing it flash, like super slick in that, but just enough to, you know, so easier to clean up later on. That makes sense. I want to chuck it in there. I'll get this done, then I'll bring his back. Alrighty, I think that's all I needed to do. Or maybe I should stuff something in those holes just so I don't... What can I put in there? Like a rag in there? I don't know, I'll figure it out. But pretty much that's all I want to do. So I'm just going to mix up some, I've actually got some New Tech Space Age Repairer, not endorsed in any way. This is more auto body specific. Really expensive though, so I'm just going to try it out on here. I haven't used any of this for probably over 20 years, so I'll give it a run and see what it's like compared to that other fiberglass stuff that I got, and yeah, let you know. What was I doing? That's right, got to find something to put in those holes, maybe a bit of newspaper or something, just so if I drop anything in there, it's, you know, I'm not trying to pick it out, if you know what I mean. Okay. Well, first impression on NewTek compared to that other fiberglass is it's way easier to get it out of the container. It's definitely a like a short grain kind of fiberglass that's in it, rather than a medium or long grain, I guess you might want to call it. So I'm just going over all my welds, basically. Try to keep it fairly much to a minimum. I'm not trying to build up a fill, I'm just trying to fill any little pinholes and little bits and bobs like that. Goes on heaps nicer actually. I probably should get, we'll see how it all sands up in that, but if it sands up as nice as it kind of spreads out and goes down compared to the other stuff I've got, then we're definitely quite keen on switching out. I'm not sure if I've got enough hardener in here is the only thing. Hopefully it'll start going off. Cool, well, I might mix up some more and smooth the rest of it with it, yeah? Alright, so that's the skim of NewTek on there. Like I was just saying, first impression is way easier and nicer. It doesn't pull itself up when you're trying to spread it around. It's you can rub it into like little pinholes and weld holes, or little, you know, steps in your joints, like, you know, there's a couple on here. So I just got to let that go off, and then I'll get in there and start sanding it. I'll see how it sands up by hand. Some of it I might be able to kind of just get in there and whiz over with that old DA, but probably not even worth getting it out actually. I'll probably just as easy to do this bit up by hand. So give that a few minutes, and then well, I don't know how many minutes. It's starting to go off, but it's still got that greasy feel to it that you get with all those kind of epoxy fillers and stuff like that. And then yeah, then we can start doing some body filler. Yeah, joy. Alrighty, so that was an ordeal. Right, I've got the NewTek fiberglass, we'll call it, all down to where it's kind of ready for the first skim of normal Bondo, so bog, filler, whatever you want to call it. It was a bit harder to sand down than I was anticipating, and I did get the DA out to hit the flatter areas, and it went into grinder mode, so it went sparks, all that kind of stuff. But it's really slowed me up kind of getting into all of those sort of things, and so I made the mistake of like, I probably shouldn't have done the whole thing. I should have done half, sanded it, and then done the other half, sort of thing, you know, rather than try to sort of do the whole underside, because then you just kind of get overwhelmed and think, oh, this is taking forever, and I just want it sanded. And so you kind of like, oh, I do anyway, I kind of start going and jumping around all over the place, and then I miss things. So what I'm going to do with the filler, the normal bog, is I'll just do enough to do maybe one side, let that go off, and then I'll maybe skim the other side and then start sanding the first side, maybe something like that. Yeah, we'll see. Right, so got to mix up some of this. Probably a bit much hardener, but should be right. going off. And it starts to go kind of, oh, there it is. Yeah, so that's over. There's my rag. Oh, we'll let that do its thing, chicken wing, and didn't get the whole side done, but that'll be right. I'll sand what I've started, and then can go on to the other side. Update. Well, that's about all the kind of main filler that I'm going to do on this underside. There's probably going to be a few little glazy bits, spot filler bits. Now I'm not going for perfect. I did think about doing a textured sort of finish under here just to kind of hide some of that shit a little bit more, but we'll see how it kind of comes up in primer as to whether I kind of do that, you know, like the stuff I did on the floor. I'll do some in the boot as well eventually, but like in the floor, that stone guard stuff, paintable, so it'll still be the same color as the car. May do that, may just mask off these areas and do those in that stone guard, and then have that main bit as just the car color, you know, just smooth, hopefully-ish, smoothish. Long day of sanding. So I'm trying to decide whether to just seal this as it is or just go straight into it with the high build primer, because it will probably end up still be sitting for a few months in that high build. So I don't know, I might have to look up the TDS sheets and on that and see what kind of time frame it likes to sit in, because I mean, I know some of them are porous, so that means they soak up moisture in the air sort of thing. We're coming into spring, so it's probably going to rain a lot. Yeah, so I'll go and do that and then make a decision on whether I just put some more of this epoxy on here or seal that up again, or whether I chuck some of the high build on there. High build's going to go on there eventually anyway, so, and it will end up sitting for a few months, but at least that way if I epoxy it, the bare metal will be sealed. Know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'll go and do some reading. Okay, so did some reading and it said bare steel, put my epoxy back on it. Even set it by its product number and everything, so it must be true. So yeah, I'll just reseal this with a little bit of me epoxy. I'm going to switch to my old, that gun there. It has given me problems in the past as well, but maybe it is me. It had been going quite good, so I'm going to try that and just sort of see. Mind you, I'm not going to be spraying, I'm just going to be, like big areas, I'm just going to be spot priming it, so I don't need to make very much, maybe just a couple of 100 mils maybe. Yeah. Okay, so I'll just mix up some paint. Okay, so it didn't come up too bad. There's a couple of little blemishes in here where I put too much hardener in my bog and it was a shit fight to sand back. This side here, up here, a couple of stuff down here, so I've got to get in there. I'll just use some of that little glaze putty stuff to tidy that stuff up, but the other side came up quite a bit nicer because it was easier to sand. But yeah, that's sealed up now with some epoxy. I was reading the data sheet on the high build primer that I've got. It says recoat within 72 hours. That ain't gonna happen, you know, like this kind of thing's gonna sit in primer a bit longer, so it should be alright, hopefully. I don't like leaving cars in primer for a long time, so maybe I won't high build prime that. Maybe I'll just kind of get it sort of scotchied up and ready to go, so when I prime the whole car. It just means I've got to sand it upside down and stuff like that, which is a bit of a pain. But it is what it is. So we'll have to figure that out. Don't know. What do you guys reckon? You reckon it's alright to leave that sort of high build primers? It's a 2K, so it's got like a catalyst or a hardener involved in it. So is it alright to leave them longer if you've got a good epoxy base underneath it? Yeah? Anyway, that's enough for today. I want to go and get cleaned up and have some dinner and whatnot, and then park up on the couch probably for the evening. But yeah, glad I got that done. So I'll leave that to dry off and then decide what we're going to do next. Okay, well, till tomorrow or the next day or whenever I get back onto this. Also, forgot to mention that other little cheapy spray gun that I just spot primed that with sprayed heaps nicer than that other HVLP thing that I've been trying to use. The only thing is that being a suction fed, you know, you get low on material and it starts running dry and stuff, you know. So whereas the old gravity fed type things, you can kind of run them a little leaner, you know, like less material in there for them to work. So that's the downside of that. But that little Mech Pro gun came to me via, it got given to me basically. I lent my good spray gun and compressor to a guy and he broke it. He dropped my spray gun and actually snapped it at the handle, and so he replaced it with that little cheapy Mech Pro thing, which has given me quite a bit of grief in the past, but it seems to be kind of spraying okay now. So maybe I think I just ended up giving that a real good clean, because it came back to me like dirty and kind of pretty rough and ready, kind of even rougher than me, you know, like my dust-free environment. I need to have a clean up. I think once we get the trunk lid down on this, we might put the old Area 51 down on the ground, unmask all this kind of crap that's probably going to fall off soon anyway, and hopefully the next fine day get it out and give this garage a real good clean up, because you know, even with all my vacuum and stuff like that, you still get a lot of dust and overspray everywhere. So it's starting to get pretty bad in here. You look at everything, it's all just layered. But anyway, that's enough jibber jabber. Let's leave it at that for now, I think. Keep looking at that. There's a little bit of bog hanging in under there and I'm just dying to pick it off, but I've got to leave it alone until this is dry. Okay, till tomorrow. Hey guys, so little update. Been doing some thinking. Well, this morning I came down and did a little bit of that, the little glaze spot filler on under here, and I've just started sanding it back. But I was thinking about my predicament with, like, I want to get this into primer and do as much as I can without, you know, leaving it sitting for ages. So what I was thinking, I thought, come up with this genius idea on the way home. As I was driving my car, I could prime all this and I could actually kind of paint it, at least kind of get it sealed up with some of the colour, and then maybe just scotchy it so it just needs a kind of a final blow over later on, you know what I mean? So I could do that, you know, because I'm probably going to scuff up the edges and stuff like that, so I've got to seam seal all this anyway, so I could even paint it finished and then mask it up to this lip all the way around, you know, and just kind of protect it, paint the hinges off the car as well. Just an idea, something to chew over the next few days while I'm continuing to get this prepped up. Yeah, also, a mate of mine gave me a spray gun that he was having trouble with. I've used that spray gun and I got it to work. So, but yeah, he was having trouble with it, and then he bought another one and he realised what he thinks his mistake was. But it needs a good clean because he got fed up with it and just left paint in it, and that's kind of like semi-dried up. So I'm going to give that a bit of a clean up and sort of see how that goes. Maybe use that for my primer gun. it's got a 1.4 tip on it, so should be alright for, you know, primers and heavier stuff, maybe. And yeah, carry on sanding. Hey guys, so it's actually the next morning before work. Why is the lid not on that thinners thing properly? Because it's free, you know. Anyway, this is the spray gun that my buddy gave me yesterday. I chucked just some gun wash dirty old thinners in the cup yesterday to soften up the paint that was still in it. Fortunately, it was like a single lacquer, like a, you know, single stage. I don't know what some people call it, or I'll just call it lacquer here. Try and soften that up, and it's starting to come through the tip. But I'm just going to fire up the old compressor and blow some stuff through it, and then I'm going to strip the whole gun right down and give it a bit of a soakety soak, and hopefully kind of make it a usable tool again. Okay, so fire up the compressor. Alrighty, so got that stripped down as best I can. Well, mostly stripped down. The only thing I haven't chucked in there is the air pressure doodad, but I'll clean that up by hand. I probably could chuck it in there, I just don't want to damage that little Teflon seal, possibly, so worry about that later. But anyway, it's well made. Make the best for you. Okay, so that tells me something about this spray gun. Doesn't say Devil Bliss or anything like that on the side of it, or Sata, or even Iwata. I quite like their spray guns. I used to use them many years ago, like the old suction fed Iwatas. They were a good spray gun back in the day. Well, to best of my knowledge and experience at the time anyway, which was limited to them only until I kind of got some other stuff. Strangely enough, that beat up old piece of shit there still sprays really well, considering it never gets cleaned out. It's always just got like a etch primer in it that goes all gummy and stuff. After a while, you just chuck a little bit of meths in there with it and shake it up, and away it goes again. As long as you clean the air hole out and the top of the pot, it's good to go. That sounds rough, but man, that was a cheapie as well, but a cheapie about 25 years ago. So anyway, I'll just let that soak up. Still got to finish sanding this sort of stuff because I want to try this spray gun on the primer, on the high build primer. It tips a little bit on the small side, I think, for the primer, but we'll see how it goes anyway. So yeah, so I'll leave that and hopefully get back down after work and kind of start going through that gun. There's a lot of old paint and stuff inside it. Unfortunately, someone's tried at some point to take that brass cap off with some poly grips. So I don't know whether that's going to affect the cap. The ear cap seems to screw on alright, but I don't know whether it's going to affect how well it seals and stuff like that. I think it should be alright, but it's not the greatest. But if I can get it running, spraying quite nicely, it'll be fine for a primer gun anyway, for my level of priming, not like production shop shit, you know. Anyway, till later, maybe tonight, probably tomorrow. Okay, so pretty much sanded and ready to go, but driving to work, this is when I do all my thinking, when I'm driving to work and observing the world and the people in it and stuff like that. I've been neglecting what I'm going to do with these parts here, which is the underside of the outer skin, you know what I'm saying? Half-time change arms. And so I thought, because I did contemplate using that body deadener stone guard stuff under here to kind of hide a lot of my imperfections, you know, but I'm kind of quite happy with how this has come up now. Like, it's not perfect by any stretch, but it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. So, well, I haven't got shiny paint on it yet, but so it could be quite a bit different. So what I'm going to do now is, ooh, hold on. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to mask off the bulk of this. So these are left exposed, these 4 pieces here, and I'll just spray that textured coating on the just on these inner parts, and then once I've done that, I might see if I can poke these open, or even I might mask them open so I can squirt a little bit in these holes and get a bit up into these areas here, you know. So that's my plan. Battery's getting a bit flat. Go and chuck that on charge and get some stuff, masking tape and knife and all that kind of thing. I've got a knife up in there in the old sign writing kit. Chuck that in the pocket. Battery. Okay, so all masked up. Got my Omega Stone Guard. Now this is just a water-based paintable, so I'll just give it a bit of a schutz with that, and try not to cover everything else in this shit because it tends to stick like shit to a blanket. And yeah, then that'll be it for tonight, because this will take a couple of days to cure off if I get the lid off it. It is just, I think it might just pull. There we go. Doesn't actually unscrew. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't. So I've got a little bit of this left over from when I did the interior floor. Ready to go. Alrighty, so that's all my Stone Guard splattered around all over the place. Now that'll get painted the car colour, the main colour. You can I'll just squirt a bit of primer over the top of that as I do the other stuff, not too much, and then just enough to kind of even it out, so hopefully it gets a kind of evenish coat of paint on there. So I've got to leave that to dry now, but I've still got to kind of finish cleaning up this gun and see if it's going to be any good. But yeah, so it's cool. Got out of work a little bit early today, and I think all the crazies were out today, to be fair. Like, I seen some lady parked in the middle of the road nutting it off at some poor bloke parked in his car for whatever reason. He was just sitting there like, and she's going on about definition of a crazy man and stuff like that. But yeah, and then there's just, you know, tweakers all screaming around all over the neighbourhood. There must be a new shipment in or something, but it's kind of weird. But yeah, not normally going through that part of town at that time of day, but yeah, you had to stop at the bank. But it is what it is. It's life in the modern world, I guess. People are just so weird nowadays, eh? Like, they just seem kind of just out the gate and kind of mean and in a hurry and just, yeah, really strange. But not my YouTube followers and stuff. You guys are all cool, so you're very patient and understanding. But anyway, I'll leave that, and then I might have a little tutu around with that, see if I can clean it up. Next day, I think, yep. That's that all kind of dry enough to be able to unmask. It'll You can still see the old surgery scars and that down these sides here, but I'm not really too worried about that. If I get real worried about it, I could also make up like insert panels to fill in these as well, you know, like just some kind of liner that covered the whole inside of the boot lid, but it's probably not going to happen. So I'm not concerned about the old surgery scars in there. Could even chuck some dynamite or something done like that on there, but that's probably not going to happen either. So that's all pretty much ready to go. Squirt some primer on there at some stage. I'd like to get the primer on before the weekend so it can get kind of all cured up, so I can then get in, sand it all back on the weekend, because I'm going to shoot some of the body colour onto it, even if I just chuck a couple of coats of that onto it to seal it, and then, you know, give it a scotchy sort of thing so it's kind of ready for a final coat, and then some clear in that once it's on the car, maybe. Or maybe I'll just paint the whole thing and the hinges. I've got to do the hinges too, got to remember that. I might pull them out now so I don't forget. But before I can do any of that, I've got to put this spray gun back together. It's all kind of cleaned out, cleaned up. The only thing I couldn't get off was this thing here. I'm not sure how they come off. You can see someone's had a go with some poly grips or channel locks or whatever you want to call them at some point. I don't know how that's going to affect how it sprays. Possibly considerably, but the other thing is I chucked it in to soak with these two seals on this part here, which is on the kind of ear trigger part. So, and they went all baggy and soggy and stuff like that, so I don't know whether they're going to give me problems now, but they did shrink back once I kind of put them back into place. They shrunk back, but they might be well and truly stuffed now, but we'll see. Put it back together, give it a squirt some thinners or something through it and see what it does before I try squirting some paint and that through it. You know what I'm saying? So, put this thing back together.
Just happened. This is not a Christmas. This is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas. This is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas. This is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas. This is not a Christmas song. My neighbors compete to see who can put up more blinding lights. The kids all wish away the month 'cause they want presents in sight. This year had me so mad, I've been bad, got coal that is sitting under my tree. I think that my Christmas has died. This is not a Christmas. This is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas. This is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas. This is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas. This is not a Christmas song. When I was just a boy, Christmas brought so much joy. Couldn't wait for the presents and laughter. I couldn't sleep late at night, looking for Santa with lights. Those are the memories I still remember. Then I became a man, lost sight.
Rebuilt. Hopefully, we'll see. Alright, I've just put a little bit of methylated spirits in there because it's handy. Okay, wasn't expecting that. Spraying alright, but it's leaking a lot of air. down here. Did I miss something? It shuts off, but it's letting air out from the get-go. So that would make me think it's maybe something to do with this trigger, possibly. And that's the one that might have had those seals on it that I cooked in thinners. Now, I have to tip this. God dang nabbit. I just got to clean this up. Okay, so cleaned up my dirty thinners off myself, which I didn't end up using that can anyway. I forgot there was a little bit of dirty thinners in there, but took that trigger mechanism out and I had one of the seals in the wrong place, so it was doing absolutely nothing, whereas now it's in the right place. So now I just got to put it all back together again. Why do something once when you can do it twice? Take two. Let's try this again. Ears open, no leaks other than my usual coupling leak. Seems to be alright. Well, it sprays stuff and it's not leaking excessively other than my air hose, which this does my head in. This particular air hose, it's always leaked. I wonder if I've got another fitting. I probably have. I have got another one actually. I could probably swap that out for one that doesn't go tss all the time. But it sprays stuff, so we'll just chuck that in there for till we I should really get rid of that mess that's in there, but I'll just put that aside until we're ready to squirt a little bit of primer around the place and see if it still sprays okay. But yeah, definitely looks better-ish. It's got a brushed sort of stainless look to it now, even though it's just kind of plastic Chinese chrome, but yeah, see how it goes. Give it a run. Hey guys, so next day, gonna give this spray gun a bit of a shot, see how she goes with a bit of primer, surface primer stuff on the underside of this boot lid. Okay. Let's see. Better chuck some PPE on. You can see I got my ovaries on, but it splashed it all over myself like I did last night. Okay, so that's one coat down on the primer surfacer stuff. Probably haven't mixed up enough. Spray pattern was a bit kind of cattywampus on the sides, as they say in old Canada. But on the whole, it actually kind of sprayed kind of alright for a primer. I probably wouldn't use it for I might use it for a top coat, maybe bracketry and stuff like that. But got to do 5 minutes between coats, so I'll let that flash off. Do another sort of quick shoot over the whole thing. And let that flash off, and then do one more. So 3 coats altogether. It says no more than 4. Said on the old TDS sheet, so we'll aim for 3 and see if we get them. If I mixed up enough paint to do 3. So we'll just. Oh, it's time. Alrighty, so got my final coat on here. I didn't film it, but I just basically went till I ran out of paint, so I made sure I got all the kind of areas that I'd been doing the body work on a little bit, you know, first before I kind of worried about the other stuff. I'll probably sand through it, I always do, so I'll end up spot priming it and maybe repriming it anyway, probably. So I'll leave that now to the weekend. I may get down here. Oh no, I'll sand it first. I want to seam seal this joint all the way around, just to, because I do. I don't really know why, just because it stops like stuff getting in there and just swelling those joints and stuff. And there was already a little bit of it happening down the bottom edge that I hammered down, I think earlier in this video. Little bug, little midgy, tiny little thing. I might like the smell of this paint. It's primer, but yeah, on the whole, you know, there's a little rimples and stuff here and there, and there's a few imperfections in here and there and whatnot, but it looks, you know, at a glance, most of the time it's going to be down anyway, you're not going to be looking at it, but at a glance it kind of doesn't look too bad now. You know, there's obvious, you know, discrepancies and shit. I probably could have spent more time on rounding off those things and making them look a little bit more factory, but I honestly didn't think it was going to come up as kind of tidy as it has. I thought it was always going to look way more Frankenstein than it currently does. Might be different when there's gloss paint on it, to be fair, but as it sits at the moment now, I actually, you know, I kind of don't mind it, you know. It's sort of, you've still got those little curves and that going through there, but they kind of now look like they almost could be supposed to be there for some obscure 50s designer reason. They're not, but you know, you know, obviously you can still see the surgery scars, and you know, like I said, these, I could have spent more time. I got in there with a die grinder or the little belt snapper or something and kind of, what was that? Oh, that might be that splatter stuff, and you know, rounded those up even more. But you know, not perfect. Get a computer to do it. You want Dave to do it, then you know, DMAC customs it, then it's not going to be perfect, but you know, hopefully it'll be cool and have that human touch. You know, wonky, bent, crooked, slightly not straight. But I mean, yeah, like you can see, you know, could have got in there and you know, worked on all sorts of things and made them a little bit better. But I mean, that's a factory wiggle there on there, you know, so there was wiggliness from the factory. So what I'm trying to say is I'm happy with that, and I'm trying to make excuses for not doing some of the things that I probably could have done to make it just that much better. Okay, till tomorrow or maybe the weekend. See you then. And the other thing, I'm not sure if I mentioned or not, but that spray gun that I was using, that one there, that one, on the whole it actually sprayed alright. When I first started spraying it out, it had a kind of wonky fan, which could be a little bit to do with when I was trying to take that inner brass thing off. I was using some circlip pliers and managed to kind of like damage it slightly. Could be to do with that, where someone, not me, Neil, used some channel locks or poly grips on that threaded part, maybe damaged it properly. It could have like a leak on that brass part slightly, but yeah, but for a primer gun, actually, you know, laid down kind of alrightish, I think. Have I just scratched that? I did too. It must have been my sleeve that it's like not cool. Now I've got a scratch in it that I'm gonna have to try and sand out. I'll probably sand it too far, and I'll definitely have to spot prime it. But with a little bit of a finger rub there, it's kind of like smoothed out that scratch a little bit. Anyway, leave it alone till the weekend. Hey guys, so a couple of days later, I've just sanded again all of this trunk lid, boot lid with 320. which is as fine as I'm gonna sand it and put my what do you call it over. I did a bit of a whiz around with some scotchy as well, just to hopefully catch any bits that I missed. Okay, battery died, so it didn't said it was half full and then it just died. But anyway, I've got a few little rub throughs, you know, here and there where I've kind of gone a bit through. I kind of did the first rub through within about 30 seconds of starting to sand it, so that was good. So I've got to do a bit of spot priming on that as well, but I also want to seam seal all this edge. So I've got some new seam sealer which I haven't tried before. It's a Retco one. It's a brush on one, and because I couldn't get the one I've used in the past again, out of stock everywhere and whatnot, you know, it's just the nature of it, you know. We live in a reasonably decent sized city now that still thinks it's a 1-horse town and they don't carry any stock of anything, so I bought that, give it a shot, see how it goes. What else have we got to say? But anyway, so I got to dust all this off and I'll just do that seam sealer, and while that's kind of curing up a bit, it takes about 40 minutes or so. On a warmer day, I'll move the old bomb truck out the garage so I can take this over there where there's a bit more room to actually put some colour on it, because I'm going to seal it up with the actual body colour, the turquoisey, greeny, bluey thing that's going on everything. Yeah, so let's fire up the old compressor, blow some of this dust away, and try and dust it out as much as I can over here, and then start trying out this seam sealer, yeah? Okay, over here, yeah, this Retco seam brush on seam sealer, a bit thinner than the other stuff I've used before, but whoops, shit, slopping it all over the joint. It still doesn't brush like super clean and nice and whatnot, but it's not bad. I think the tin had been on the shelf for a while, it had settled a fair bit, so it took a fair bit of stirring to get it all good, sort of thing, you know. I'm just using an old lettering brush. This is an Oxen Sable lettering brush, so it's a bit coarser rather than the usual. In the past I've used like an old artist brush, like a Finch. So I'm just kind of brushing it in, making sure I get it into that little lap joint, you know what I'm saying? So I push some in there, go around, and then some people mask all this off and do it that way, but I'm not. I tend to just do it like this, and then I'll just flatten off that leading edge. I'm not worried about having an edge down there, or not too much anyway, because I kind of quite like seeing it through the paint for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know, it feels a little bit more factory to me, if you know what I mean. Well, that's all me seam sealer done around the lip of that boot, trunk, bonnet, boot lid, deck lid, whatever you want to call it. That seam sealer actually not bad. Like the first brand I ever tried was a lot more thicker and a lot gunkier and kind of like a paste more than a thing. The next one I had was that water-based one, which was a bit more like that, so it did kind of brush on a bit nicer, whereas this is clean up and lacquer thinners or general purpose sort of thinners, so it's obviously got a bit more, well, it's not water-based, so it doesn't clean up in water. Anyway, that was alright. So I'll let that kind of cure up. I reckon about 40 minutes, so I'll spend some time getting the old bomb truck out the garage and prepping up what I've got to do, maybe put some tools and that away, and then we'll be back with you in just a Hey guys, just sliding down the thing there. That distracted me so much I forgot what I was going to say. Oh yeah, over here now, get it into some different light, found more pinholes and crap that I hadn't sanded flatter and whatnot, so I've kind of done those and dusted it off again, and now I'm just going to run some spot primer on the bits of exposed metal, steel, you know, just to seal that up, prime it. Just putting some 1K primer surfacer on there, just you know, spot primer, it'll be alright. It's not, it shrinks back a bit, like on the whole it's not a, I don't think it's a bad primer, but it does shrink back if you put lots of it on. So I'm just putting a light dusting on to seal up that steel. There's blemishes I've found in it like that. I'm not going to bother chasing them out, you know, going back in with the, you know, glaze putties and things like that. It's just under the side of the boot lid, if you know what I mean. And when this thing's parked up down on the ground, even at ride height, the boot lid up, you'd have to be like 2 foot tall to be able to be looking up under there anyway. Not that that's an excuse, but still, that's enough. Go round and round in circles and never get this thing done. Feels like it's been weeks, but it's kind of been chipping away at it during the week, so it still feels like weeks. Okay, let's do some priming, spot priming. Okay, so spot primed. Yeah, still spray gun. I don't know. I didn't filter my primer, so a bit of shit came through it in the paint. It could have been in there. Shouldn't have been in the spray gun because that all got cleaned out real goodish. But yeah, spot primed. Sorry, camera's pointing all over the place. Spot primed. Anyway, so I'll let that kind of like set up a bit, and then I'll just give that a little bit of a whiz over with the Scotch-Brite, take the fuzziness off, and then we should be good to go, maybe. Can't forget to paint the hinges up there too. Yep. Alright, ready to go, hopefully. Wish me luck. Oh guys, got the colour down, not without spray gun problems just for a change. Now I thought this was going to be my good kind of colour and clear coat spray gun, but bloody cap doesn't seal properly. So once you get a bit of angle on the fandangle, it just like material runs out of it and then drips on your stuff, which is not a problem if you're just painting horizontally, but it's a problem if you're painting vertically. It's not a problem. Painting horizontally, it dribbles shit out with you sloshing it around all over the place, so not ideal. And of course, all my other spray guns, none of the cups are in. Okay, so this, the one that leaks everywhere, I was just putting the fitting back into it and I've split the handle, so it feels kind of lightweight compared to this. So I've got my little pressure gauge and that on there now, and I've Frankensteined another tip on there. I think it's spraying better. I've only run some thinners through it, so but I like the cup on this because it seals. But it wasn't spraying all that great, so yeah, so that is junk. So that's spare parts now. I have got another quite a good looking gun that was, you know, the handpiece that was given to me, but none of the cups I've got fitted. So anyway, chin up, old chap. I'm gonna mix up some clear and shoot a couple of coats of clear on this, get it all locked up, and then that's that done. Oh guys, that's as far as I'm gonna take that, as far as putting clear and stuff on it. Really not that happy with it, with my spraying on this. It just, every step fought me, like the leaking guns to like getting heavy dry spray and stuff like that. It was just real weird. Now I'm not overly experienced with these HVLP guns and the sciences and shit behind them, so I like the idea of them kind of being a gravity fed kind of thing, but man, they fight me at every step. So I think I might switch back to my old suction fed guns because I kind of understand them a little bit better. I went with all my normal paint consistencies, and I went with recommended PSIs and all that kind of shit, and it just fought me. I don't know whether I'm going too fast, too slow, all that kind of stuff, but I mean, some of it's alright, and it is just under there. It's orange peely as all hell because I thought I'll put one kind of heavier coat of clear on, and it just went on dry. It was just going on dry, like, and that was sort of mixed, sort of 1 to 1.5, so that should have been pretty thin. I normally, with just lack of clear, normally go 1 to 1, and then on the last coat I'll go to sort of 1 to 2, like one real thin coat at the end. Just helps kind of lay it out a little bit, but not this time. My god. Well, we'll let that kind of sort of settle down. It might flow out a little bit. There's enough bloody paint on there. Went through a ton of material as well, like way more than I should have, trying to just get some clear on the inside of a bootlet. Probably used a good litre of clear, which way too much, but I don't know. Well, you're not even going to see it anyway. I don't know why I'm stressing about it so much, but I just kind of wanted it to kind of go a bit better than that. Now I got, I don't know, I might need to go and have a little lie down after all of that, but I've got this carnage to clean up now as well, so I'll get onto that and might chuck that out in the sun. Okay, so thought I'd put these boot hinge back in, but there. I marked them wrong, I think. I'm hoping. Yeah, I think I've marked them, got them in the right way now. When I put that one in over here before, and it just looked wrong. Now I'm trying to think how I've got my gas struts kind of fixed in there. I think they run down this inside here, so down on this, the inside of that thingy bob. Sound right? I think so. I don't know. Guess we'll find out when we try to put this boot lid on and nothing lines up. Okay, so been rummaging through my box of fasteners for the old Area 51. Got my trunk kit, so it's got 4 bolts, 4 washers, flat washers and 4 spring washers, and I've got a shim kit that I bought off the interweb a while back, which is quite, body shim kit. It looks like it's quite comprehensive. Look, so they're all muddled up and sliding in amongst each other. Oh yeah, you've got like 1/8 inch, 1/8 inch, 132, whatever that is, and 164. So there's lots of body shims there, so I should be able to kind of get my what do you call it, my hinges all adjusted. I did make up these shims way back when. I should have already painted them when I painted the boot lid, but I forgot. They're at 1/8 inch, so I could use those, or because I have got a bunch of 1/8 inch shims, I could use these. You know what I'm saying? They'll be all shiny and clean looking. Right, let's open this up. Make sure my threads are clear so these will all go in nice and easy. Okay, going to try and do this by myself with paint on something. I was able to do it plenty when I was taking this thing on and off, but now that there's paint on there, it's kind of a little bit more freaky. You know what I'm saying? That's alright. How did I do this? I think when I took it off, the struts were in. Let me rethink this. Got a plan. I get that, jam that in there, that'll hold that hinge up. So, but I need 2 of them, so I'm just going to cut this in half. Try again. Yeah. That worked better, obviously. Screwdriver. Whew, that was kind of intense. Now I've got to do a little bit of shimming and playing around with it. So. Yeah, definitely need to shim them up. Check it out, it's on there. I think I've got it about set where I had it set when I was working out all my gaps and that a while ago. I've got a little bit uneven up the top there that I've got to revisit. There was always issues down the sides here, never mind all that shit there, but this side here always kind of like flared out a bit more. Hang on, let's get that away. So don't know what I'll do about that. Don't know whether it's a big issue. I think I just put my head in the sand about that one actually. I just think I couldn't decide whether to add on to the boot lid or whether to slice and dice up into the body, or whether to just fill it full of fiberglass and kind of hide it. Don't really want to do that, but I don't know how much it would take, maybe about 1/8 of an inch. Is that too much? At its furthest point would be about here to get like a, yeah, probably about that much. Don't know what I'll do about that yet. All sorts of weird things happen, like at the moment it's sitting a bit low here, but when you kind of, a bit high here, but when you kind of push, you know, get the bump stop down there right, that lands in the right place. So there's a couple of little rubbers that go down in the corners. I'm not sure if I've got them in my kit, new ones. They are the old ones taped on there, and they're like rock hard. So I'll have to have a look through the kit. That'll be more in reassembly stages and stuff. But I should kind of pack them up to get them kind of where they need to be for doing the body work and that on this, so I can, you know, figure out how it's all gonna land and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, a few shims. I'll stutter. Hang on. Hey, how's it going? I just check my boot stop. Okay, so got a few shims in there from my shim kit, which worked out quite good. They're a bit wonky, but don't worry about that. So we've got a couple of 1/8 inch at the backs on that side, not quite the same amount on this side, and then an 1/8 and, oh, just an 1/8 there, and an 1/8 and a 1/32 at the front on that one. Just tried different things to get it all kind of level up. It never did kind of level up that well before. I don't know what it's like from you, but once I started messing with it, what I'm trying to say, before I painted it, I never got it quite right, and I was kind of, you know, Frankenbootlid. It was a mission to get it where I got it to. So yeah, so bootlid underside is done for now. I think that's it. The paintwork, on the whole, it's okay for under a boot. There's a few dry bits where like I said earlier, had trouble with my clear spray and dry. The base colour went down nice, beautiful, but the clear just didn't go down how I normally expect it to go down with those HVLP guns. Well, you know, compared to the old siphon fed type things that I'm used to using. But it's alright, like I say, it's alright for under a bootlid. So I mean, if you look at it, you know, like quickly, okay, and you know, it looks alright. So I might just put some little packers under there, but for now we'll call it a day. We'll call it a video. So we'll leave it at that. I don't know. Anyway guys, we'll leave it at that for this video. As always, thanks for watching. Don't forget we're on the Instagram and the Book of Faces under DMAC Customs. Got like 14 followers on Facebook and 200 and something on Instagram, but you know, you can jump on there and have a look. Occasionally I'll try and put some stuff on there that's sort of different to what's on here. I don't know why. Maybe I won't. I don't know. But anyway, jump on those. If you haven't subscribed, get on and subscribe. And until next time, take it easy and peace.